For decades, we've kind of thought of our DNA as our destiny, right? Like it's this unchangeable blueprint we're handed at birth. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? Not even close. We're going to dive into this incredible new world of genetics, where it turns out you have way more say in the matter than you ever imagined.
So let's start with a fascinating puzzle. Identical twins. They share 100% of their DNA. So how is it that one twin can develop diabetes or cancer while the other stays perfectly healthy? The answer to that question completely flips our understanding of genes on its head. It turns out our DNA is just the first piece of a much, much bigger and more intricate puzzle. Yeah, the old idea was super simple. Your genes determined your fate. But that just couldn't explain the twin paradox, or why so many common diseases seem to run in families but don't follow any simple inheritance pattern. It was pretty clear that science was missing a huge piece of the picture. And that huge piece is this whole other layer of information that sits on top of our DNA, controlling how it all behaves. This layer is the world of epigenetics. The best way to think about it is like software that tells your genetic hardware, your DNA, what to do. It's a system of chemical tags that can tell a gene to turn on or to stay quiet, all without changing a single letter of the underlying code.
Here's a fantastic way to grasp it. If your DNA is the alphabet, your epigenome is the grammar and the punctuation. It's what turns those letters into meaningful words and sentences, giving the code context and function.
So how does it actually work? Well, imagine your DNA is a 2-meter-long thread crammed inside the microscopic nucleus of a single cell. It's wound super tightly around these proteins. Epigenetic marks act like dimmer switches, either tightening the coil to silence genes or loosening it up to allow them to be read and expressed. And this is where you come in. These epigenetic marks aren't random. They are hugely influenced by your life. Your diet, your stress levels, how much you exercise, your exposure to pollution, all of these things are constantly talking to your genes, changing which ones get switched on or off. And it's not just your actions. Our bodies are home to a second genome called the microbiome, trillions of bacteria with 100 times more genes than our own DNA. These tiny organisms are constantly interacting with our cells, helping digest food, training our immune system, and even affecting our mood. All of this added complexity helps explain why cracking the code for common diseases has been so incredibly difficult. You see, some diseases, like cystic fibrosis, are straightforward. They're caused by a mutation in a single gene. But most common illnesses, things like heart disease, diabetes, or schizophrenia, are complex. They're the result of the combined effect of many, many genes interacting with many, many environmental factors. To try and untangle this, scientists use a powerful tool called GWAS. Basically, they scan the genomes of thousands of people, comparing patients with healthy individuals to find tiny genetic variations that are more common in those with the disease. And these studies have confirmed that genetics plays a massive role. For a condition like schizophrenia, the heritability, how much of the variation in risk is due to genetic factors, is a whopping 81%. So the genes have to be in there somewhere. But here's the catch. Even with all our powerful tools, the genetic variants we've found so far only explain a tiny fraction of that risk, maybe 5 to 10%. This huge gap is known as missing heritability, and scientists believe the answer lies in those complex gene, environment, and epigenetic interactions.
But while that puzzle is still being solved, our ability to act on what we do know is leading to one of the greatest revolutions in the history of medicine. Welcome to the era of genomic medicine. We're moving beyond just reading the code to actively rewriting it. We can now use genetic information to design more precise, more effective treatments tailored to the individual. So how does it work? Well, gene therapy uses a few key approaches. We can deliver a working copy of a gene to cells that have a faulty one, we can switch off a gene that's causing trouble, or we can even introduce a brand new gene to help cells fight off a disease. And this isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. For sickle cell anemia, a devastating blood disorder, a one-time gene editing treatment is allowing patients to live without pain and regular transfusions. It's effectively a cure. In cancer, CAR T therapy is a total game changer. Doctors take a patient's own immune cells, genetically engineer them in a lab into super-powered cancer assassins, and then infuse them back into the body. The results, especially in blood cancers, have been just staggering. And maybe most incredibly, we're restoring sight.
For a rare form of inherited blindness, a single injection of a healthy gene directly into the eye is allowing retinal cells to start working again, giving patients back a piece of their world they thought was lost forever.
Now, these are amazing cures for specific diseases, but the real revolution is how this knowledge is going to change healthcare for everyone. We are rapidly moving away from treating diseases and toward treating individuals. The era of giving everyone with the same diagnosis the same drug is ending. The future is medicine tailored to your unique genetic and epigenetic profile.
This is going to change everything. Pharmacogenomics will match you with the drug that will work best for you with the fewest side effects. Nutrigenomics will help design a diet based on your DNA to prevent disease, and predictive medicine will identify your risks years before symptoms ever appear, allowing for truly preventative care.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? Your DNA is not your destiny. It's a dynamic conversation. And your choices, what you eat, how you move, how you live, that's your side of the dialogue. The question isn't what your genes have